Hello! Welcome to this new development stream of ScourgeBringer. I don't know how many of them I did so far, but yeah, it's been quite some time since the last stream, I believe, because it's been something like a month. I hope that you are all alright. And of course, if you have any question during the development stream, feel free to drop them on the Twitch chat or even on Twitter or even on Discord. I'm trying to monitor all of this channel. So if you have any question, feel free or comment, I don't know, or feedback about what you are seeing. And well, let's get started. So what happened over the previous months? Because I'm used to stream every week, and unfortunately I couldn't stream for about months, mostly because late August we were off to Gamescom, and a lot of stuff happened at Gamescom, and we met with a lot of people about people that could get with us working on the game on the team, people from marketing, people from sound design, from music, and also publishers. All those discussions were very, very cool, and all the people that we met were very cool. So, fingers crossed. But I, I think we are going to get a very nice context and team to build the game from now. I won't be able to talk much about this right now because there is a lot of stuff that are still pending and going on and so on, and we want things to be done in a manageable order. Let's say so. So yeah, and the other week I couldn't stream because my power supply fried for my streaming computer for the second time. Yeah. And I got a new one from the Corsair support. They are very cool. And so right now I have all my streaming computer that is now up and running again, and that's very cool. Please let me know if there is any drop frame and so on, because when I've set up the stream, I've got a few ones, but it looks to be stable. Okay, so what changed over the months for ScourgeBringer? Quite a lot of things, a lot of little things, because we fine-tuned a lot of the physics of how the playable character behave, based on feedback that we had from Gamescom and from other people that we sent the game to, mostly other game developers for feedbacks. And they are very, very helpful. And one of the major feedback that was about the physics was about people felt that the character was kind of sticky, sticky on walls and sticky on ground. Something like it wasn't very fluid when you were playing this. So we tweaked a lot of stuff to avoid having the character to stick too much on wall. Because before she was something like, a bit like this. She was sticking on wall for about a second every time you were touching a wall, and it really felt like it was kind of sticky. So right now I am holding a button on the gamepad because that's one of the feature we have in the game. We have just a button to stay in place, and if you want to fire things or slash things from a specific angle without sliding on the wall, because if I release the button, the character is going to automatically slide through walls. You can stay somewhere without sliding. It's basically also for presidential and so on. But just to show you, the problem that was that the character was sticking a bit too much on walls, so we reduce the time that she's sticking. and it feels way more better, and we had better feedback regarding this. We also had another issue was that if I'm going to try to find another room. Yes, this one is perfect for showing what I want to show you. Okay, there was one problem. If I'm going to jump on the wall that is on my right, and like this, and I want to jump over it to go to the other side of the room. Right now it works. It's kind of okay. I just have to jump, and I can air control and manage the jump quite easily. But the problem that we had with the previous version of our physics was that when I was jumping from here and jumping to the right, the character in fact was pushed up with the strength way too strong. She was hitting the ceiling before being able to move to the right. So that means that you were endlessly like jumping, hitting the ceiling, and falling back on the same wall without being able to go in between and move forward. And that was kind of a problem, because in some situation and in some level design, you like exactly in this room, you were completely stuck, and that didn't felt right. So I tweaked the physics to send you way with the strength way lower than what it used to be before. It doesn't mean that the jump has been changed. The jump always jump to the same height, but it was just some kind of automatic force that was applied when you are wall jumping. Because when you wall jump, the character, how to explain this? If you jump from a wall, there is a very short time that you are pushed on the opposite direction of the wall, and you can't turn back to the wall. That's because it's just a little trick to allow you to have the time to move your stick from one side to the other, because when you are wall sliding or on a wall, you are pushing the stick to the direction of the wall, and when you jump, and if you want to jump to the opposite side of the wall, you want to have the stick to the opposite side. And the time that your finger takes to go from one side to another can be sometimes a bit long, and that makes the jump to not really jump to the other direction, to the opposite direction. It's like the character is jumping, but directly going from one wall to the same wall. So there is a lot of little trick in the physics, like some very slight timings where we force things, or having like a jump save. If I jump into a hole just here, there is a very slight timing during which I can save the jump, and like falling and jumping while I'm just about to fall. I'm going to trying to show this. I don't know if you see how it works, but I am not jumping on the platform, but I'm jumping when I'm already like a little bit falling. And there is a very, very slight period of time that you are allowed to safe jump and so on. There is a lot of small little tricks in the game like this one, and that's what make everything smooth and just feel right, and something like the platform doesn't punish you, and there is no such things like very high precision or pixel perfect positioning, jumping, and so on. We don't want that in the game. We want that you stay in control of the character at any time. So yeah, so we change how the character is pushed back when you go from a wall to another. and that's way better. So catching questions in the chat. So yeah, is it something you borrowed from another game or you came from by yourself? I don't think it's something like we borrowed to a specific game, but because it's a trick that most platforming games that felt right do. And even 3D games do that a lot, like having slight timings to like save an error from you, or just I would say, yeah, it's not like cheats or anything like this. It's really like having a small tolerance for everything that you do, like in the timings, in the inputs. It's very, very small. It's something like 100 milliseconds, but it's plainly enough to just get things right and make you feel that you are in control of what you are doing. And that's very important to us in the platforming aspects of things here. What did we change? Yeah, we changed a lot. Some animation about the fighting, because we are right now heavily working on everything that is combat and combat mechanics. We enhance the animation of the playable character. So now if I like slash while being idle, there is a new animation where the character is swinging around, and we also have a slight different kind of effect of slash animation. It's not quite visible, but it allows to break the repetitivity of the animation. And there is the same thing when you jump. So there is an animation now mid-air when you slash. There is, of course, the I don't know how to. It's a dash attack, but we don't have a name from the ground pounding attack. Or I don't know how to say, but or drop dash. I don't know. And so we have the dash. The dash was previously a movement, something that you were using to move around. We made it an attack because we want the dash to be something like a central attack to our system. And just because we also introduce the double jump, and double jump feels way more satisfying and way more easy to use to move around instead of just a dash. So we removed the dash as something to move around, and we changed it to an attack. And it's going to be an attack that is going to allow you to something like start a combo. You are going to be able to impale enemies on your way with your dash and just start to air combo them right where the dash finished. So there is an enemy right now in front of me, and I'm going to dash to the right with the enemy on my way, and you will see what happens. So the enemy is kind of following me. So I'm just going to try to find another enemy. It wasn't quite visible. And yeah, same room again. Okay, so this enemy, I'm going to try to get it. I'm going to dash on it and start a combo right when the dash finish. So I just have to dash and slash. So, and that's pretty much it. And we want the dash to be an attack that keeps you moving forward on enemy. And another thing about the dash attack is that if you dash towards the ground, you can pound the ground like this. And that's an attack that is going to be upgradable. You are going to be able to have like some wave of energies that's going to go from where you land. And if I something like land on an enemy, if I'm just on this platform here and I want to crash land on the enemy below, it's going to be crashed on the ground and take additional damage and so on. So if I just do this, so the enemy has been touched and is been like explode on the ground. So that's one of the attack. Well, of course, again the same room. So here there's two enemy. So if I just drop the two of them, is going to be something very dramatic, like micro freeze happening to highlight the impact, and they're going to be smashed on the ground. There's going to be one more and phase on the attack. Yeah, just try this. Okay. We also tweaked a lot of things about the general feel of the game. Some people call this the juice. It's all about screen shakes, freezing frames to mark impacts, adding effects, particles, and so on. So I've tweaked a lot what the freeze frame is, and if you pay attention, when I kill an enemy, there is a very, very slight freeze of the game. Not know if it's quite visible on stream, but it's a very small effect just to mark the impact and that something very important impacted. And if I dash on them, you're going to see this way more because it's a bigger attack and we want this to be way more impactful. So if you pay attention, I'm going to drop on the enemy below with my dash attack, and when the enemy are going to be hit, there's going to be bam, an impact and another impact when it reaches the ground. So just pay attention to this, bam bam, and that's the kind of effect we're looking for. So right now we are like tweaking all the values, trying to find the good values that feel satisfying, that feel impactful, and that just show you the impact. That just things are really, impactful. So that's the word. So questions in the chat. Is it a problem with the itinerary of the AI? The enemy seems blocked by the ground. So right now there is the enemies are trying to follow you and trying to get at some range between you, but the smaller platforms, if I just drop down, the enemy is like ignoring me. It's firing at me because it's firing randomly, but it can't follow me because right now the pathfinding and everything that is enemy is blocked by the smaller platforms. It's not a bug, it's not a problem, it's just something that we are not set yet on it. But this kind of enemy, this specific enemy, will be able to go through these platforms and follow you anywhere on the level. It's just that in the current state of the prototype, these platforms are like solid stuff that the AI can see through and can go through, but they should, yeah. So yes, this may look like a problem, like how it is like right now, but yeah. Other question: how long have you been working on this game? For now, I believe it's been 6 months now. We are 2 people working on the game, and we are working on it on and off because we have other work. We are doing our own game for like most of our time, but lately we've been to festivals, to showcasing stuff. We've been to Gamescoms, we've been to other places, and we've been also doing a lot of administrative stuff because we spent a lot of time doing documents, talking to people, and so on. And we also sometimes work for other game studio. For instance, my colleague Florian is doing graphics for other company. And me, I am mostly doing ports, console ports. I have finished a Nintendo Switch port for another company. It's going to be announced very soon, I believe. And I am also about to work on another port. So, yeah, we do our own game, and yeah, we've been on it for about 6 months, on and off. Another question, Eremita. Hey bro. What engine are you using? We are using not an engine. We've made something like an engine of our own, but it's just 2D stuff, so I'm not quite sure if you can something like call this an engine. I am working with Monogame or XNA, if you know XNA. I am one of the contributors to XNA, to Monogame, sorry. And Monogame is not an engine, it's a framework that is about, it's a wrapper and some helper stuff to do something like cross-platform graphics and game development. But it's much closer to stuff like Direct3D or OpenGL than anything that is an engine. When I'm working, I am working like directly into my Visual Studio, and of course, over the time we made a lot of tools. We have a lot of editors. It's been something like maybe 10 years that I am working in C# and with XNA and Monogame. And our two previous game were also made with Monogame, and so we have a lot of like bits of codes and tools, editors for a lot of stuff that we made and custom made, and you can consider somehow that as an engine, but it's really not something like as powerful as what would be Unity or so on. It's really something that is tailored for our games and very, very specific to what we are doing and what we are trying to do. And yeah. What have I been working also? Yes. We have this new attack, this one. It's a big smash, and that's something that is going to be like the main focus of our combat system. Let me explain. I'm going to try to find some enemies. So look at these enemies. I'm going to try to smash them. And when I smash them, just going, here we go. So there are something like pushed forward to where you like and where you are aiming. And like if I just want them to be pushed on the ground, I'm just going to try to push them, and I'm going to drop dash on them. What's special about this attack is that it's kind of similar to what the dash attack is going to be. We don't want to make a combat system where you have to like evade or go back and so on. We don't want to like avoid a fight. Avoiding a fight is something that we don't want. We want you to push forward and to really attack forward, to never stop attacking. We really have this kind of focus on everything that is combat and attack. We don't want you to stop. And for that, we needed something to still avoid you from getting hit. Because if you are like in a melee with multiple enemies and they are all going to attack, and we don't want to have something like a dodge, something to evade. So we need to change that into an attack itself. And that's where this attack, the smash, is going to be useful. Because if you hit an enemy with the smash, they are going to be pushed, and it's also going to cancel their attack. So there are going to be some Q, like an exclamation mark on enemies or on the character. We still don't know quite yet. And where this Q appear, and if you land a perfect smash on the enemy right when it's about to fire at you or to eat you, to bite you, I don't know. So it's going to be something like an attack break, and you're going to break and cancel the attack of the enemy, and he's going to be stunned and thrown away. And this attack, we hope that it's going to be something like you are going to be like air combo enemies pushing forward, dashing on enemies. You are going to be attacked. You are going to smash them to cancel their attacks. They are going to be stunned, and for this time you're going to be able to dash again on them and continue your combo and so on. It's going to be something like even maybe close to a rhythm game, not like a rhythm game, but we want the combat to have this kind of rhythm that your attack, and smash, attack, dash, smash, attack, dash, smash. And well, right now we are working on exactly this, and we are fine-tuning everything. We are working on making the little Q, the exclamation mark that I've been talking about, and we are working on canceling attack and how it's going to work. And we are also working on adding more enemies to make this more playable, to test different kind of pattern, to really try to get the feel of what we are trying to do. Also see if it works, because we have many ideas about this, but we need to test them to see if it's fun, if it works, if it's easy to do, if it's everything. And the smash is something that we've been working on for quite some time now. I believe we've been something like more than a week on it, and also doing other kind of stuff. But we've been testing something like, I don't know, maybe 10 version of it, and what we have now is something like we are starting to like, it's not quite something, it's not quite there yet, I believe, but we are starting to get the feel of what we want to do with this attack. So right now I can smash it for like forever, because the attack does very little damage. That's for the prototype, because we wanted to be able to smash them a lot, just to see the animation, to see how it reacts, and to test it a lot. So it doesn't do much damage. It's just for test purpose. It's going to be a way more powerful attack. And here I go. Okay. Well, yeah. So we've been working mostly on this attack, on the synergy between each attack. We are also starting to work on everything that is range weapon, because you have your little drone with you, which is able to fire. The aim is, there is an auto aim, and I can also manually aim with the right stick, but we want every action in the game to be playable with only one stick, the left stick, to move around. Because platformer game involving two sticks are like, well, hell. It's just not playable. It's very difficult. We don't want games that require two sticks for platforming. You can think about this, that we are trying to make the game fully playable and very easy to play with only a Joy-Con of the Nintendo Switch. It doesn't mean that the game is going to release on the Nintendo Switch, even if we hope so, but it simply means that it's just our target. It's our target for simplicity and the ease of play. And for now, we have all the major buttons, and you can do everything with just this much of button. And that's very important for us to stick to this configuration, because it keeps the number of button to a manageable state. And well, that's very important for us to have something like a game that may look and feel complex when you play it, but it's very, very easy to move around, to shoot around, and to slash around. We don't want to have too many buttons and too many like combinations or things to think about. So yeah, we are starting to work on the drone and on the weapon system. And yeah, right now there is only one D4 weapon. It's exactly the same that as the enemy that you've been seeing so far. And we have a lot of idea about the weapon system. We don't want you to be able to something like cheese enemy, to stay somewhere and fire at them indefinitely. So there is going to be some limitation on the weapon system, but it's going to be quite powerful and to have a broad range of utility weapon, like freezing enemies, slowing enemies, and a lot of other effects. And also we are thinking about not quite limiting ammunition or the usage of the range weapon, but we are going to try to find some synergy, like enemies that you can only kill by using your range weapon, enemies that you can only kill by slashing through them, and also something like having a limited number of energy or ammunition, and to get back energy or ammunition you have to slash enemy at close range. Something like having the synergy between each weapon, that one is more powerful than the other, one is more risky than the other, but using one might enable you to get the other one more powerful or more useful, or being able to use it more often. That's the kind of stuff that we are not set yet. And that's why we are now implementing all this kind of stuff, because we need to test them. We need to test them to see if this is a good idea, if it works, if it's fun, if it's playable, and so on. And yeah, and we are also now thinking about everything that is upgradable, because in roguelike games fashion, you know that from one game to another you are going to be able to like customize your game, your character, your weapon, your skills, and to just get stronger, unlock stuff, and so on. So we are thinking also a lot about what kind of stuff you are going to be able to upgrade. And for instance, on the drop dash attack, when you land on the ground, if you can see it, there is something like small waves that go from your character to the other way. It feels like there are, it's maybe more visible if I do this. Yeah. So you may see that the waves just end a few tiles after the character. And maybe an upgradable version of this skill would be that it goes like up to the walls. I don't know. And also the smash attack, this one, we want it to be upgradable, to be able to push enemies harder, for our enemies to be able to bounce on wall and take additional damage, being able to throw enemies on other enemies and to get them to bounce them everywhere, and so on. So there is a lot of idea about what are going to be upgradable and unlockable and so on. And of course, that's going also to be a lot of stuff with the customization of the drone. Question in the chat. Tell me it's gonna be released on PC. Yes. Yes, there is no reason that it's not going to be released on PC. We are actually planning to do something like an early access of the game. Not an early access right away, but we want to have feedback from players and community at some point, and before we release the game and we get into maybe an early access, I don't know. But there's going to be quite a long period of yeah, I'm a bit troubled because there is a cat playing just right to me, and she's acting strange, but it's okay. Yeah, so there's going to be something like an alpha release of the game, with something like just one level and one boss, and we are going to start to build the game from there with a feedback system integrated in the game. And yeah, so you are going to be able to interact with us directly from the game, like hitting a button, sending us a message about what you like, what you don't like, and there is going to be something like a small icon to just acknowledge that we see your message, and yeah, and we are going to move forward from there. I believe this period is going to last for a few months, and once the game is in a state that is like early access compatible, we're going to probably go through an early access. But PC, yeah, definitely, and hopefully consoles. Our previous game released on every possible console, so I believe that people are expecting that we do the same with the new game. There is nothing much that could go against it, but we'll see. It depends. It's going to depend to a lot of stuff, what is going to be relevant when we are about to release the game and so on. So it depends, but we are going to see. I think it's about it for what I wanted to show you and talk about today. What are we going to work for the week to come? But I just talked about it. It's mostly the weapon system and finishing everything that is related to the smash attack. And yeah. So if you have any more questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. So yeah. So will there be Linux support? Yes, of course. There is absolutely no reason that there would be no support for Linux, because our game engine is crafted to be cross-platform. Right now, it already works on Linux. It already works on macOS. And we have an automated build system that builds the game automatically for all the systems at once. So I can tell you that yes, the game is already right now playable on Linux. So yeah, when the game is going to come out, it's going to be compatible Linux on day one. That's we've been making this for all our games so far. So yeah, so also during early access, yeah. So if we are going to release like any kind of stuff from this game, it's going to be compatible for Windows, Mac, Linux, right out of the box, right from the very first thing that we publish online, and it's going to be on sync. I mean, our automated build system. If you release a patch, if you release a new version of the game, it's going to be the same at the same moment for all the computer platforms. There is really no problem with it. We are really dedicated to all the communities. So our engine is cross-platform, and so yeah, there's no reason that it doesn't work. But yeah. Do you have any more questions? I'm going to wait for like 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3. No, just kidding. But I'm pretty much done with the stream today. And if you have more questions or questions that comes to you while watching the replay or after this stream, just feel free to ask them, being on Twitter, on Discord, or on the YouTube comments, because it's going to be posted on YouTube. Feel free, and I'd be glad to answer questions, to take feedback, to just get your feelings, comments, and so on, and what kind of pizza you like. I don't know, but it should be very cool. Do you have an estimated time of arrival when there will be something we can try out? At first, we were optimistic to have a first vertical slice of the game, a first demo of the game to be out something like late this year or at the very beginning of next year. But it's starting to be a bit fuzzy, because we have new work for other studios that just came to us, and that is maybe going to be to postpone things a bit. But the schedule is that early next year we are going to publish our first alpha version of the game with all the feedback system I've talked to you about. And from there, it's going to stay for about 6 months with regular updates, something with maybe an update every 2 weeks. I can guarantee the pace, but it's going to be about every 2 weeks, about every week, or maybe about every month. We still don't know. But we are going to push regular updates based on your feedback and based on the new stuff that we add to the game. It's going to last for about 6 to 8 months, and from there, hopefully the game will be feature complete, and we will be able to push it on an early access on Steam, and from there, it's going to be a lot of polish, new content, and it's going to be for about another 6 months. And so that makes something like a final release of the game somewhere near the beginning of 2020, maybe a bit later. But that's the schedule. That's the current schedule, but it's not written in stone, because, like I said, we have also work for other game studio, and depending on the demand and depending on the work that we do for other people, it may postpone a few stuff for our own projects. But so far so good. So normal development makes sense. Been there, that. Oh yeah, what are you working on? What kind of game have you been doing, or maybe I don't know, development project of other nature? Every 2 weeks is quite a tight schedule. It's tight. For our previous game, Neurovoider, it's a twin-stick shooter, a roguelike game, playable up to 4 player, that we made previously. And when we did that, something quite similar. We made an alpha of the game with a feedback system, and then we went through an early access and released the game. And during all this time, it was something like 1 year of regular updates, and we were releasing updates every week. Every Friday there was a content update, and we built the game following this schedule with the community, with all the feedback and so on, and we liked it very much, and that's why we want to do the same with ScourgeBringer. Like I said, we built an automated build system to ease everything. So when we were pushing a new update to Steam, it was something like one double click, and it was building everything. It was uploading all the build to Steam, to itch.io, and it was also preparing the changelog and formatting it to be posted into a tweet and to be posted into a Steam post on the forums and so on. So basically it was about one double click and a copy paste, and that was very, very, very helpful. And so we know from our experience that we should be capable of pulling something like an update every 2 weeks on ScourgeBringer. We will see how we move forward, because it will also depend a lot to the other people that are going to join us on the team. So right now we are 2. One guy for the graphics, one guy for the crowd, and we do every other thing like game design, us too. And for ScourgeBringer, we are going to have a sound designer that is going to join us, and also a music composer. They are going to act as freelancer on the project. They don't have the same schedule as us. So when Florian and I are capable to publish like things every week, maybe the other people that you are working with are not going to be on the same schedule. So that means that we are going to go with their schedules. And if it means that we publish something like once per month or once every 2 months, maybe, we'll do that. Because what's most important for us is that everybody is on the same page, and just that working together is smooth. Yeah. So is then you are not working on games, you've been working on hardware and software development, currently FPGA development tools. Oh, that's pretty cool. Different at games in some ways, but also similar in others. Yeah, well, I believe that developing on hardware and FPGA and doing stuff like this could be very exciting. There is, especially because open source stuff. Yes, it's pretty cool. What were the engines that we are working on, like Monogame and so on, is also open source. So yeah, kudos for that. It's very cool. And I believe that's maybe because of open source that you've been asking the question for Linux and so on. So the closest I got to get development is one of FCM32 read through Esperant game console. A demo toy. Oh, that's interesting, because I really like this kind of stuff. I'm going to check it out. Oh yeah, that's very cool. So you've been working on the hardware and doing like your own console based on an ARM processor. Very cool. So yeah. Back to ScourgeBringer. There's no more thing to say, I believe, for this week. So I'm going to end the stream here for today. Just to remind you, I am trying to stream every week on Wednesday at the same hour. Like in the evening in Europe, and it's something like in the middle of the day to morning in the US. And yeah, so see you next week. Yeah, take care and bye bye. Thanks for dropping by, and it was very cool to have you there. Yeah, hopefully see you next time. Bye.